Good evening, everyone. I am in Germany right now with some fabulous angel wings behind me. Feeling enthusiastic. I don't know if I'm feeling angelic. As usual, welcome to any of you that can be here live. Also, welcome to any of you that watch the recording later. I have just finished a 4-day clinic here in Bavaria, and I'm just really excited about some concepts that became more clear as I was teaching this week. So one of my favorite things about teaching clinics is the questions I get, the comments I get, the discussions we get into. A lot of times the way that my students think really help me think more clearly. And of course that goes for the horses too. So the more often the horses show me different behaviors and different patterns, the more I can think about it. But there is something wonderful about students asking questions that allow me to think differently. So good morning, Louise. I'm glad you're here. And Anne's here, and Kevin's here, and Cindy will be back later. That's great. So this week, we explored the ideas of affirming versus supporting. What does that mean? So when I teach different ways of interacting with the horses so that we build good associations so that the horse wants to do more things with you. And if you're working with me, we're doing all of this without halters, without food rewards, hopefully without trapping them up against a fence. Although sometimes that happens in a clinic just because clinics aren't quite as free as I would like them to be. However, we can still work on the concepts of freedom. So when we talk about affirming the horse's behavior, what we do is we notice the things that they do that really are good for them. So specifically for me, this is when they use their 5 senses in a way that makes them feel good and cooperative with others. Because I really believe they are herd animals first and foremost. So that means that they want to cooperate. And if they don't feel good enough to cooperate, they don't feel good enough. So cooperation is voluntary. They don't need to cooperate. But when they feel really good, they will be cooperative and they will choose harmony with others. So we talked a lot this week about how we affirm the types of behaviors that make them feel safe, cooperative, and good in their own body. So we would spend time watching patterns. Horses are always moving in cycles. So sometimes they feel better, sometimes they feel worse, sometimes they're just tired and they don't feel anything at all. And all of that is valid. But if you can catch them on the upswing, you can notice the moment that they start to use their 5 senses in a way that really lead to a lot of harmony, where they really want to work with you. Then you can affirm that behavior. I'm not talking about giving them a food reward when they do it right. I'm talking about just matching and mirroring them when they start to use their senses in a way that's really beneficial to their own nervous system. And this is really exciting, but also sometimes a little boring, because sometimes horses don't make great decisions and they choose to look at things that bother them and they choose to focus on things that frustrate them. And you end up moving around the space just waiting for something to affirm. So what we were talking about a lot in the clinic is, why would we take that time to affirm instead of support? Now, before I get into that, let's talk about my definition of support. When I talk about support, what I mean is you cause them to feel better. You help them think about something that makes their life better, that makes them want to have harmony with others. So Support is where we are a benefit to the horse. Affirmation, any practice of affirming them, is where the horse is doing their own work. They're making their own decisions. They are not being helped by us. But when they do make good decisions, they get some sort of affirmation that, yes, they're on the right track. Yes, that gets attention for us. I do think that horses will work for attention. They're herd animals. They want to get attention. And so if we really give them the best kinds of attention when they're doing a really good job of using their nervous system, they're going to do it more. And they're going to try and figure out how to get attention. Many people will use this to get them to do behaviors or activities that are physical actions. What I try and do is I try and link that to mental and emotional actions. That is the use of the 5 senses in a way that helps the horse feel better within their own body and more cooperative. Thanks, Robin. I do love my angel wings. They're kind of fun tonight. And I see I missed one. Yeah, students asking questions team here. I loved it so much, learned so much, and you're patient asking our questions. Kaya, it was awesome having you there. So awesome. I will take more of your questions anytime. So we are going to keep on this adventure. Do we support or do we affirm? So when we support a horse to think about the right things, when we support a horse, do better about using their nervous system. When we support them, we are co-regulating them. I lost my internet there for a second. I hope you're still there. My internet just cut out for a moment. It's back now. So we'll continue. What I was saying is that when you support a horse, when you help them feel better, you're co-regulating them. You're using your nervous system to help regulate their nervous system. And a lot of people think of the nervous system as a very complicated set of rules and guidelines. I think of it really simply because I think that's more useful. What are the 5 senses doing? And you could think of it as a million more than the 5 senses, but I make it simple because I think we use information that's simple better than we use information that's complicated. So, might be more complicated than that. However, if we use our 5 senses to help them use their 5 senses, and the end result is everyone feels better and everyone feels more cooperative, that's your co-regulation. If we're just moving around the space, letting the horse do their own thing, not trying to help them, but we notice when a horse makes a really good decision about where they put their attention. They feel good, they feel cooperative, they want more harmony. If we stop what we're doing and affirm that behavior, there's going to be more of it. That, I believe, is how you encourage self-regulation. So self-regulation versus co-regulation, I think both are really important. And I do think that self-regulation comes from a memory of co-regulation. So generally we co-regulate with our parents when we're very small, but we also co-regulate with all of our friends and all of our herd members. Then when they're not available, when our herd members or family members are not available, we have some memory of how they helped us so that we can help ourselves. What I think is a missing link, and this was a big aha moment for me this morning, what I think is a missing link is when I can affirm good choices in my horse. The progress of self-regulation is so much better and faster than if they really have to do it all on their own. Of course, the goal is eventually they can self-regulate all on their own. They don't need any affirmation from me. They don't have to have encouragement or appreciation. But if I can affirm those good behaviors of self-regulation, they get repeated more. They become a lot more powerful. Manuel, I'm so glad you came to the clinic. I'm so glad you're here for tea time. It was really, really excellent, the work that we got to do. So why does it matter? Why does it matter whether you co-regulate or you self-regulate or you have a balance of both? What I find is that horses that are really good at self-regulating, they don't really need anyone. They're not as connected to their herd. They're not as connected to their rider because they don't need any help. They've got it. They tend to be more independent. Those are horses we want to show them. We want to use a little bit more support and show them that we're useful. Look, I can help you feel better. And when we show them that we're useful, the bond between us gets a little stronger. However, when we have a horse that co-regulates really well, they receive help, they're glad you're there to help them, all of those things, sometimes they become codependent, which means when they don't get help, they start escalating behavior. So you see this in a lot of horses. If they don't get the help they need, they get louder and louder and louder and louder until someone helps them feel better. So that is a problem. We need a little bit of self-regulation when no one's there to help us. We need a little bit of co-regulation to bond us together with others really well. Now, the other problem that happens with a horse that mostly co-regulates and doesn't self-regulate is they will have a few friends that they can count on, and they won't have very many friends. So if they're really dependent on co-regulation, they can only have a few friends that have proven to be very trustworthy. And those are going to be your one-person horses that can really only be handled by one person, that can really only be ridden by one person. This is my person that I know will help me. I don't trust any of the others. We need more of a balance between self-regulation and co-regulation. Self-regulation is I can decide how to use my nervous system and where to look and how to think to make myself feel better if no one's able to help me. Co-regulation is, isn't it nice to let someone help me? And doesn't it feel good to not always do all the work myself? So this was my big aha this week. I've certainly been teaching a lot of things along these lines for a while, but I feel like I understand it at a whole new level now. And I'm really excited about it. I'm still going to be doing all the same work that I do. My clinics are still going to continue in the same format where the horses are free, and we are going to read their patterns and their behaviors and reinforce the ones that we like until they do more and more of those. Yeah, exactly, Kaya. Lousy. We had a fabulous horse named Lousy who helped us with really seeing horses that were more self-regulated, and he wasn't as bonded or connected with the herd around him, but he was lovely. He was really fun to be around. He just didn't particularly need anyone. And that was really interesting to appreciate his self-regulation, but then also say, look, could I help a little bit? Wouldn't it be fun if I could help you? And we could build a little bit more of a bond around my support of you feeling good. Thank you, Joanne. The angel wings are a little bit fun today. I don't know if they fit me, but I'm going to pretend they do today. So I think that's kind of the nutshell of it. I could talk about this for hours, and I certainly did this week. I'm headed to Portugal next week, and I will be delving into this again, exploring the ideas in more depth with new students, with new horses. After that, I'm home for a little while. Then I will be in Australia for 6 weeks teaching and exploring the ideas even further. And then I'll be home to start my next online course, which I'm very excited about. I do have a few student places open. That starts the first week of January. If anybody wants to take a deep dive with me into the psychology of horses and humans and what it is to work in freedom with them, I'd love to have you along. Send me an email at elsa@tamingwild.com. Eula says, please do. So Eula, I love that you came. I'm sorry you have such a long drive home, but I am going to cut this tea time short and let you focus on your driving. It's awesome. It's awesome that people will come from so far away to join me at these clinics. And it really does feel more like a brainstorming session sometimes than it is just me teaching. Certainly, I've been doing it for a lot of years. I've seen a lot of patterns. I've seen hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of horses. I can often shed some light on situations that's unique because of my experiences. But beyond that, it's really about the whole group of us, the whole group of students, the whole group of horses, and all of us brainstorming, how do we feel better together? I'm going to continue really leaning into this. How do I help affirm behaviors that are self-regulation? That was great. My horses did a beautiful job of using their nervous system. How do I help them know that they did a beautiful job and they could continue doing that? I will also help supporting. How can I cause them to feel better? How can I cause them to use their nervous system better? Because that is the foundation from which they will build their self-regulation in the future. So yeah, Robin, it is really exciting, the nuance that these discussions can lead us into. And I'm really excited I get to be there with you in New Mexico in August. And my clinic schedule is filling up. Got lots of places to go in the coming year. For any of you listening to Tea Time, I'd love to see you at a clinic or in an online course. And yeah, team brainstorming. So thank you guys. Have a wonderful evening wherever you are. I'm going to get some sleep and get organized for my next clinic coming up in Portugal. And I am also doing a demo here in Bavaria on Thursday. So there will be stuff circulating around the internet about that too. I can post some links under this tea time. All right, you guys. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you again next Tuesday.